Hey everyone, welcome to our fourth Python tutorial, and in this tutorial we are going to be covering type conversions in Python. So go ahead and open up Collab, and I've called my program type conversion, program number 4. And so by now we have learned about the different types of variables and data types that existed within Python, and we've used quite a few of them. And with this knowledge, it's important to also understand and learn when each type of data type is applicable, as well as how to convert between each variable data type. So that's what we're going to be going into today. So there are two types of type conversion, implicit and explicit type conversion, and I will be writing a program for each of those. Okay, let's begin. I will be starting with implicit type conversion. So here we have a simple program explaining implicit type conversions. So before we start, what exactly is implicit type conversions? Implicit type conversions is when Python automatically converts data types and does not require any user involvement to complete this type conversion. So here you see we have an integer variable and we have a float variable, both defining height, I'm assuming in inches, and here we have a sum height, which is adding our integer and our float. So right now, what these first two lines are going to be doing is they're going to be giving us the data types of each of these variables. So this one should return integer, this one should return float. But when we're adding the two variables, we need to understand where exactly does the type conversion occur and what data type does it convert to, right? So when it adds, and I guess I can just test it out and show you guys what is happening. Right, so you see here, the data type of the height integer variable is integer, and the data type of the height float variable is float. But when we're summing the two heights, we're getting a value of class float. So when you are adding an integer and a float, it will always result in a float. So this is an example of implicit type conversion because we didn't explicitly ask Python to cast our variable sum height as a float, but through the addition of these two variables, it simply does that on its own. And you can see right here the value of sum height is a float, as it's 121.72 or 73. Right, so that's a quick example of implicit type conversion. So now I'm going to do a quick example of explicit type conversion. Okay, so we've completed the second program, which is discussing explicit type conversions. And in explicit type conversion, the user is directly telling Python to convert a data type in order to act upon it, right? And the problem with explicit typecasting is that it sometimes can result in data loss as you're doing conversions that it's not that Python doesn't necessarily recommend, but it's something that Python doesn't see the need for. Right, so it explicitly typecasts could lose some data. And type conversion is especially useful in areas of data collection and usage, and type conversion is primarily used in order to convert all data into the same usable format. And for example, one example of this type conversion could be when you're entering or registering your name into a video game, or registering a date into a video game, and you can have multiple different ways of explaining that date. And I'll go ahead and show you a quick example of that. Right, so you see here, it's 3 different types of data, right? 3 different ways data is explained, but they all mean the same thing. Right, so what type conversion allows us to do in these kinds of scenarios is it allows us to convert all of this different, various forms of information into one solid form which we can work with, regardless of what form it's given in. So that's one positive of type conversion. So let me go ahead and print out this program. Right, so in this program, you can see right here, we have 3 variables, all are strings, and you'll see that right here, right? It's detecting all of the variables, our string year, string month, and string day, to all be strings. Next, what we're doing is explicitly we're casting our variable string day as an integer. So it becomes integer day. And with this integer variable, we can act upon it. And let's say we want to add one day to the date. So that's what we're doing. We're saying int day is equal to int day plus 1, right? Adding one day. Instead of it being the second, it will now become the third. And now we're going to be printing it back as the date, right? So now we're getting 9/3/2020. So that's one example of how we can utilize, once again, explicit type conversion. And I'm sure you'll see a lot of this, especially when getting integer variables or float variables and you want to print them out. You're going to be doing a lot of this type of explicit type conversion. So it's important to understand type conversion, and I hope this program and these two programs gave you a quick understanding of what type conversion does. Okay, there'll be tons more coming, and I'll see you in the next tutorial. Okay, thank you.